Jungkook is lost in his thoughts. His mind keeps thinking about the green eyes boy who never leaves him. He isn't someone who came here for some time which will lead him to distraction. But here he is thinking about someone, ruining his precious time where he wanted nothing but study hard. His tiny mind is thinking a lot. For a moment he was thinking about Eunha and his grandmother. For this motive he stepped inside this university. The water slid down from his head to toe. Instead of refreshing he is feeling the old suffering crept in his bones. Flashbacks. Here is both of your food. You guys know young people should eat a lot. Grandma placed the food in front of Jungkook and Eunha. Jungkook is hungry after a long day. He gave an entrance exam for Murim University. He has a hope that he will pass it. He started eating without thinking about anything. Eunha started stuffing food in her mouth. That little girl is also collecting money just to help her oppa and grandma. Jungkook looked at his grandma who was smiling at the kids who were eating plain rice with kimchi. The allowance the government gives them is actually too less to provide good food. And Jungkook's part-time job's money was kept as savings for the rest of the 5 years. They didn't even ask grandma if she had eaten or not. It's not like they don't care, it's just after a full day with an empty stomach they have no sense to ask her. Eunha is a bright student of his standard. He can do many amazing arts. She usually does some crochet design, collects old things and recycles them with pretty decorative pieces. She sells them in her school as there are also rich students who buy anything they like. After completing the food Jungkook comes to the kitchen and his eyes fall on the empty vessel. He glanced at the calendar hanging on the wall, 26 of this month. It means the end of the month and they have to face a lot of difficulties. His teary eyes fell on his grandma who drank water and laid on the thin mattress. Eunha also looked laid beside her. Jungkook feels like his stomach is churning badly. He wants to throw up all the food he just had. How come he forgot his grandma also must be hungry? He didn't come to the room. He couldn't find the strength. Only if he were mature and can work better then his grandma won't have to face this day. Jungkookie, come my love. Sleep for now. You have to go early tomorrow. Didn't you say the boss asked for your help with something? Come and sleep. Grandma shouted before closing her eyes while Jungkook controlled his sobs and gulped down the lump in his throat. I am coming grandma, you sleep, he said and wiped his face. He lied to grandma. The boss didn't ask for any help. It's him who pleaded with the boss for overtime. Just for a little money he has to do this. He comes and takes the torn blanket. He laid down on the right side of grandma and hugged her. Today my bunny seems to have missed me a lot. Grandma asked with a smile while Jungkook nuzzled his face in her arms and tightened the hug a bit more. I will make everything alright, Ma. Trust me, we don't have to eat one food regularly. We will have a comfortable bed and room. We will have a warm and good blanket. Trust me Ma, he said as tears poured down from his eyes. Grandma knows why Jungkook said this. She ruffled his hair lovingly and kissed his forehead. You will, my Jungkook is the best. And obviously he will be a successful man one day. That day I will stand beside my grandson and say proudly, look, this is my grandson. He is a successful man now. He fulfilled his promises, Grandma said with dreamy eyes. She doesn't want luxury but she wants a luxurious life for her grandchildren. Which grandma would ever want to see their grandchildren suffering in poverty? I will also. Why do you love oppa the most? I am the younger one here, Eunha said while both Jungkook and grandma smiled widely and hugged her. Obviously you will be a successful witch. I can see your future sitting here only. Jungkook teased Eunha like always while Eunha glared at him. Look how he is talking about me. Eunha complains and the time tickles away with happiness. Jungkook is lucky to have them as a family. He slept while hugging his ma while Eunha also hugged her. Back to present. Jungkook didn't know when he was soaking with tears. But he knows one thing with the water, his tears also drenching him. He looked at the mirror and gulped down the lump in his throat. I have to do this. I can't waste my time while thinking about him. I have to think about Ma and Eunha, he said to himself. The words seemed heavy to his heart but he had to do this. He can't help but think about everything in his life. How can he betray those who stand with him when no one was there? When he was on the verge of death, he came out while dressed up in a pink t-shirt and a black leather pants. He glanced at the clothes that seemed like ladies' clothes but he couldn't do anything. His ma purchased these clothes from second-hand clothes market. She brought a lot for Jungkook. And Eunha, being a supportive sister, didn't even complain that she has only 3 dresses that are too old. Eventually she was jumping when Jungkook wore them and showed them. He determined his mind that he will not think otherwise. He will only concentrate on his studies. He has to do this for his ma and Eunha. He was crying continuously while a little hand wiped away his tears gently. If you are crying because you are thinking you are doing something wrong, then you are not pretty. Don't cry like this, Soren said while looking at Jungkook with teary eyes. She smiled at Jungkook as she knows this will cheer up Jungkook in the next second. It did also. Jungkook gives a small smile to her, and this isn't fake at all. I am not thinking about anything, Sue. I am just missing my family, Jungkook said while combing his messy hair. Soren came in front of him. I have a little sister. She loves fairies and fi. But I can't show you to her. Why can't you? For 5 years I have been with you. Eventually when you will go home for the weekend then too. Soren said, and Jungkook's eyes sparkled. He looked at her with his doe eyes. Is this true? So my Eun can see you? Jungkook said while Soren nodded her head. Jungkook's eyes filled with tears at the confirmation. But the communication was broken by Seokjin, who came to Jungkook and kept his hands on Jungkook's shoulder. Let's go. We will be late for our academic class, Seokjin said while Jungkook looked at him and nodded his head. Soren pouted and sat on Jungkook's shoulder while sticking out her tongue as he disturbed their gossip time. Little Sue, you better not do that again. A WXH is not a joke. You have to pay respects, after all you are seeing such a handsome boy for the first time in your life. I never heard anyone calling you this handsome. You call yourself handsome, Jimin said while taking his bag and smiled at Seokjin, who was glaring at him like he wants to murder him right at this moment. Guys, let's go. We have to attend class also. You both can fight later, Jungkook said and took his bag. Later they all left for their academic class. Soren was saying something to Jungkook, which Jungkook was also answering with a smile on his lips. Jungkook walked inside the class and sat beside Jia, who seemed extra happy today. She smiles widely at Jungkook, which Jungkook returns with a small smile. Everyone is sitting in their seat while Taehyung is looking at Jungkook like the whole world is blurry. Like they don't have the capacity to look worthy of witnessing. His gaze on Jungkook is pure, filled with admiration. On the other hand, Seokjin, Taehyung's deskmate, smirks lazily at him. He is still a minor. So behave yourself, Seokjin said while Taehyung glanced at him. He turned to his side and pouted sadly. He doesn't even look at me. You know I force him in element class. Is he mad at me? Why are his eyes looking so red? Did he cry? Eventually his cheeks are red. Did something happen to him? You are his roommate. You might have known something. Please share with me, Hung, Taehyung said with his puppy eyes. But he didn't know the boy sitting beside him wasn't this easy to manipulate. And why should I share with you? Seokjin asked with raised brow while Taehyung smiled sheepishly. He certainly knows how to make things easier for him. Such a handsome person should be generous enough to help me. Also, Hung, the way your whole appearance is heroic, your nature is also like this. Trust me, I have never witnessed a handsome person like me, Taehyung said with a wide smile while Seokjin patted his head. And Taehyung knows the work is done already. Although I can understand why you are flattering me. Still, you make me happy. He is missing his family so much. He really loves his family, and being away from them is actually hard for him, Seokjin said with such grip that Taehyung felt pain inside his chest. Jungkook is in pain, and this thought is a whirlwind inside him. He never felt such strong pain in his life. His entire body halted, and in a flicker of a second tears gathered in his eyes. Seokjin patted his shoulder, feeling his inner emotions. Often teenager loves count as puppy love. Or something cringy, we would crunch our nose. But teenage life people are flooded with emotions. They don't have much knowledge about this world. They don't know many things. They often justify things according to their feelings. And their emotions take on a different level when they have someone whom they like a lot. In teenagers, self-emotions are always raw, filled with sincerity and an overwhelming sense of comfort. Most of them make mistakes, but their emotions hold sincerity. The commotion breaks when the teacher walks inside. He smiles at everyone and takes his seat on the podium. So students, first is math class. Do you guys like math? The teacher seems excited while saying this. But everyone looked not so happy. The teacher sighs and looks at the students who were sulking like a baby. What's the reason for not liking this great subject? This is boring. So-eun, one of the students, said with a sulking face. The teacher said nothing and kept getting answers. The professor smiled a little, but the last one from Hosok took his attention. Sir, math has no emotions. In other subjects we do find some emotions, but math has none, Hosok said nonchalantly while the teacher looked at Jungkook, whose face was showing that he wanted to say something. The teacher walked to him and Jungkook stood up. What do you want to say, Jungkook? Guys, don't make any sound. He is all of your younger self, so treat him like that. And no one will talk. The teacher ordered while everyone was quiet. Jungkook is hesitant. Don't hesitate, my child. Say it. What you want to say, just say it. Maths do have emotions, sir. Jungkook said, head hanging low. Voice barely audible. The teacher held his shoulder and raised his head. Say with confidence and share your emotions. The teacher ordered while Jungkook gulped down his saliva. Sweat did form in his forehead. He clutched his tea tightly. Share it, Jungkook. Jungkook straightened himself up. He had to do it. He is here for study and he will do everything for study. And giving some knowledge to others will be a great deed. Especially to those who don't feel any emotions towards their studies. Parallel lines y equals mx plus c, two souls destined to walk side by side, close forever but never meeting. Asymptote y equals 1x, they get closer and closer with time, but no matter how much they try, they can never truly touch. Infinity, infinity, a love with no end, limitless and eternal. 0, 0, it looks empty, but when multiplied, it changes everything. Imaginary numbers I equals square root minus 1, feelings that don't exist in reality, but without them the world of love isn't complete. Limit lim x right pointing arrow infinity fx, a longing that grows endlessly, never quite reaching, but always approaching. Derivative di dx. The measure of how fast the heart changes with every moment. Integral, integral, gathering all little moments together to form one whole love story. Circle x squared plus y squared equals r squared, no beginning, no end, just eternal connection. Tangent to a circle. They touch only once and then separate forever, leaving behind a memory. How can we say math doesn't have any emotions when maths holds such painful emotions? We just have to think otherwise. For us it's just an equation which we have to solve. But if we think about it deeply, then the rest of the subject has less emotions than math. Jungkook's voice is low. Everyone was looking at him, but Taehyung is the one who is lost in his bunny boy. Taehyung never likes to study. Leave about emotions, he just flipped them because he has to make his father proud of him. Other than nothing. But for the first time he wants to study. He wants to know the equations and understand them. Is there really this much effective emotion behind a hard equation? Maths do have emotions, students. Math does. Algebra is the marriage of arithmetic and geometry. Calculus is the language of change. Statistics is the grammar of science. Imaginary numbers are numbers that cannot exist, yet they complete reality. Pi is an irrational number, much like love, it goes on forever without repeating. 0 is sad because it is nothing, yet powerful because it can change everything. 0 feels lonely, infinity feels endless, and negative numbers are always below ground. You guys have to understand it a bit. The professor said and climbed to his podium. The class is quiet. Eventually all the students pay attention to the board where the teacher is solving some algebra problems. Taehyung's stare was on Jungkook, who was writing down all the theory carefully. Solving each problem with great patience. Taehyung couldn't help but stare at him. His page is void, without any trace of ink. The professor looked at him and followed his gaze. He sighs and walks to Taehyung, who still didn't care about the present in front of him. All he does is stare at his jewel, who is too busy with his own work. Taehyung, come out of your zone. What did you do during this time? The professor asked while Taehyung stood up and smiled awkwardly. He looks at his page, which is all white. He didn't even write a line there. Sir tilde I really tilde actually sir, my pen has a headache. No, I have a headache. I tilde. Taehyung couldn't complete his excuse when the professor showed his palm. He gulped down the saliva due to embarrassment. Go to the board and solve a problem. And I will choose it. Go now. Taehyung smiled at the professor's words. He walked to the board and the professor twisted his finger and soon a problem appeared on the whiteboard. Taehyung solved it in minutes, then came to his seat. Impressive. But from now on, don't waste time. Pay attention to the class. This isn't wasting time. Taehyung murmured softly, but that was loud enough to reach the professor's ears. He glanced at Taehyung, who was looking down, angry. His anger is clear in his expression. Meet me at lunchtime. I will be in the staff room. Don't forget. And come after eating lunch. The professor said softly while Taehyung nodded his head with a pout. He sat on his seat while Seokjin smiled teasingly. Mr. Lover, control yourself. Seokjin said while Taehyung pouted and lowered his head. For him the whole Xylos seems like a curse in his love story. The math class ended and during the physics class everything seemed way too interesting. It's not the chapter or subject which is pulling them towards the lecture, it's the teacher's lovely voice and easy way to make students understand things. The physics professor Mateo smiled at the students. He spreads the cloth like a trampoline and places the metal ball in the middle. The cloth sinks down. Alright, everyone, today we're going to talk about black holes. But don't worry, I won't scare you with equations. Instead, let's play. This cloth is space. The ball is a star. See how the cloth bends? That's how space bends when there's mass. Mateo said and looked at the students. He wants students to ask questions about the minimum things. It will be helpful for the particular student along with others. So the heavier the star, the deeper the dent. Namjin asked while Mateo looked at him. Namjin has always been a student who confirms little details. He likes to study deeply about everything. Trying to make everything perfect. Exactly. Now, if I roll a small marble around. Mateo rolls it, the marble circles around the ball. He did it perfectly. Indeed, the ball, an entire marble, is looking like a planet. This is how planets orbit stars. Gravity keeps them from flying away. But what about black holes? Bogum asked, curious. He always had a great interest in physics. He loves to read and talk about space, planets, time equations, and light. Witnessing the planet's orbit, he couldn't contain himself and asked about his most favorite things. Good question. Watch this. Imagine our star runs out of fuel and collapses. The ball becomes super heavy. Mateo swaps the ball with a heavier one, the cloth sinks deeply, almost pulling everything in. Students panic watching it as it looks like the ball and marble will fall on the floor. Mateo gives an assuring smile to them. Don't worry, nothing will happen. Look now, the dent is so deep that if you throw the marble, it won't escape. That's a black hole, gravity so strong that even light can't climb out. So light just disappears? Jimin asked with a wide mouth. Although he loves studying, instead of science he has more interest in literature. But now he can say he loves physics. Yes, the edge where light can't escape is called the event horizon. It's like a one-way door. Once you cross it, there is no coming back. Mateo said, looking at Jimin, who seemed to be thinking many things. Namjin leaned and whispered in his ear. Don't think much. Your tiny brain will blast. Namjin teased Jimin, who just pouted looking at him. You always insult me, Hung. He again pouted and lowered his head to keep thinking about the live scene and Mateo's words. Sir, what happens if we fall inside? Jie asked Mateo, who grinned a little and made a dramatic hand gesture. Well, first, from far away, your friends would see you move slower and slower, like time is frozen. But you wouldn't notice. You'd keep falling, faster and faster, until eventually you'd reach the center, the singularity. That's where physics says, I don't know what happens next. If any day physics knows it, I know I will tell you personally. The students laugh, Mateo laughs along with them. And that's the magic. Black holes aren't monsters, they're mysteries. They tell us how little we know and how much we still have to explore. To gain some knowledge we have to wait until the mystery itself is solved. Sir, is there any other planet other than Xylos where there is any trace of life? Taehyung asked while Mateo looked at Taehyung and smiled at him. If you guys want to know everything in one day, how can a single Athos provide so many answers? But do you know any planets? Mateo's question brought a wide smile to Taehyung's face. He nodded his head almost immediately. Yes, I know. Aliens are real. They live on the moon. Taehyung smiled widely, mentioning aliens. Jia glared at him. Her blood boiled looking at the wide smile on Taehyung's face. Don't remember your long-lost clan? Jia said while everyone laughed and Taehyung looked at her. You're also. After all, you also belong to my clan. Taehyung grinned while Jia shot a glare at him. The class ended with a lot of chaos and talk. Mateo is a great professor. He is like a friend to the students. Everyone likes the classes so far. They thought the teacher in Murim University would be too strict and cold. But here every teacher seems friendly and understanding. Soon chemistry and history class ended with the same vibe. The history teacher is a funny man. He was passing comments in historical moments like the students. And chemistry ma'am took their heart with her softness and bubbly nature. Taehyung is sitting in the chair far away from Jungkook. The distance is a boring hole in his heart. His eyes keep darting in the direction where his love is sitting and eating quietly. Eat, Taehyung. You have to meet with a math professor also. Nori said to Taehyung, who was looking at Jungkook. Nori floated in front of Taehyung and blocked the view while Taehyung left a low grumble. What you want, Nori? Move away. Let me see my jewel. I couldn't even sit beside him. Taehyung said with irritation while Nori pokes his nose and Taehyung looks at him. You have to meet with the math professor. Didn't you remember that? Nori reminded Taehyung while Yoongi patted his shoulder. Taehyung couldn't eat his food. He left the food unfinished and left from there, followed by a floating nori. Meanwhile, Jungkook couldn't eat properly. Morning thoughts keep buzzing in his mind. He couldn't help feeling like crying. Soren floated in front of him and kept his hands in his cheeks. Pretty, eat this sweet. They are so nutritious, Soren said while Jungkook kept looking at the packet. You know this will be so good. Take 2 or 3 packets. Here you don't have any restrictions, you can keep packets of sweets or some dry foods. Here everyone can eat any amount of dry food. Jungkook's eyes sparkled with the newly found information. He looks at Soren and takes 3 packets from 5 different dry sweets. Soren smiles at Jungkook and comes back to her place. Taehyung was standing lazily in front of the teacher who was looking at him. Taehyung didn't mind his gaze. He just doesn't care what way the gaze is on him. Taehyung, you are still a child. I can understand your emotions, but it will be problematic for you if you keep doing this. Pay attention to your study also. You have to study here. What were you doing in the classroom? The professor said with a sweet voice. He can understand little Taehyung's emotions. But as a teacher he has to care about his studies also. I like him, Taehyung said without any hesitation. He didn't even care that the man standing in front of him was his teacher. He said straightforwardly. The professor smiled, seeing Taehyung's sincerity. He wasn't disrespectful to him. In fact, his voice and way of talking is respectful. That's good. You are in the next step of your life. Congratulations. I hope you will take care of yourself in your study. And I hope you get a likable person. But keep your attention in study also. The professor said and dismissed the meeting. Taehyung is happy as the first person to congratulate him for having his first crush. He was blushing while Yoongi came to him. Why are you so red? Yoongi asked while Taehyung hugged him, but Yoongi crunched his nose in disgust. He tried hard to break the hug, but Taehyung didn't leave him. Hung, you know, the professor said congratulations to me. He is the first person who said congratulations to me. I can't believe it. Still good, Athel, stay in Xylos. I am not the only one. Taehyung said while breaking the hug. Yoongi looked at him with such an expression that showed disappointment and annoyance at the same time. You are wrong about one thing. Xylos has a lot of bad people and you are their leader. Yoongi smiled a little and Taehyung glared at him. You know, people only see their reflection in others. Taehyung said and left from there. Yoongi also left with an irritated face. But he stops at an angelic voice. Jin-hung, where are you hiding? Come out right now. I am not finding you. Go away.